on hand fund balances. It is essential to recognize that our town has not mortgaged the future of future generations to cover current expenses. Year after year, the town's expenses have come in under budget, allowing the board to reallocate these funds to fund balances. Some are restricted and some are not. However, there is a time and a place to say, let's balance this out and slow down the buildup of cash reserves for the town. We should find ways to minimize the tax increases, leaving money in our taxpayers' pockets and building their fund balances as well. After review, consideration, and discussion with other board members and members of our community, it is our desire that the town's budget for 26 be this. We maintain the personnel levels as proposed in our preliminary budget. We include health insurance benefits for all town board members. And we have a tax levy that does not exceed the tax limit of 2%. We make the following motion to amend and take action regarding the 2026 preliminary budget as filed with the county. Tosca, you're going to have to help us with this. Amend to make the changes recommended by the supervisor for the police department salaries and benefits sections as noted in the October 25th, 2025 email adjustments to the 2026 police budget. As noted. As noted. Can you stop that? Coming back.
No, I had to turn the volume down.
Okay. Amend to include the health care benefits for all councilmen and councilwomen. Assure that all personnel lines are maintained as initially presented. Amend the tax levy to the maximum amount allowed under the tax cap of 2%. We do not want to exceed the tax cap limit. Direct our deputy supervisor and our comptroller to consider and present on or before November 20th, other options to reduce the budgeted expenses without the removal of personnel. Direct the supervisor, I had to amend all of this, it's now deputy supervisor, and the comptroller to recommend to the board on or before November 20th what fund balances could and should be utilized and by what amounts to balance the 2026 preliminary budget. And we stand fast on these recommendations. Please.
We wanted to make sure that that was read before we go through this preliminary budget, because this preliminary budget is the one that was prepared by comptroller and the supervisor, right? Based on department heads' input, and then looking through historical data that the town has. The town board is now in the process of reviewing that, and has been reviewing that. And that's when we came up with this recommendation. So with that, when we walk through this, there will be there's changes that you've just heard us propose that are not reflected in this document. So we just want to be really clear about that. Do not want to waste your time talking through a document that you're going to hear 2 minutes later that we're changing. Okay? So let's open it up. Well, let me back up. First off, that picture of the bridge and the river, for those of you who had the opportunity to attend, did anybody here get to go to the Fall Family Festival?
Yes.
It was a great time, and we got to see a view that looked almost exactly like that. So it was a beautiful day on the river. So thank you, Sue. So if we go to page 1, elected officials' compensation, you'll see in here that the councilman's compensation is not changed from 25 to 26, but you'll notice it's blank where it talks about health insurance. It says no where it says health insurance. That is going to change. That we are reinstating the health insurance for the councilman we found, it was made clear that we could not eliminate that without making drastic changes to coverages elsewhere in the town. So we don't want to do that. The justices have a salary increase. The supervisor's line has a salary increase. The town clerk's line has a salary increase, and so does the highway superintendent. Do we have any questions on page 1? And I want to make it clear, this is a time for questions of clarification. During the regular board meeting, you're welcome to make comments, but this is just questions about clarification. Does anyone have a question
What are
about?
those drastic changes, Mr. Van Fleet, if you eliminated the health insurance for members of the town board?
If we wanted to eliminate health insurance for the town board, according to New York State law, we'd have to eliminate the health insurance for all elected officials, and it would have to be on a scheduled basis. You can't take away the health insurance benefit from someone who is in office now. So if we wanted to eliminate health benefits for elected officials, that'd be highway superintendent, justices, town clerk, supervisor, and the board members. The board would have to make that decision and then schedule it out over the years as people are then elected to office. So we are not wanting to eliminate the health insurance for everyone that is an elected official at this time.
Well, we have an opportunity now, since there's gonna be a vacancy in the office of supervisor, to eliminate it for that position. Isn't that a good time to consider it?
It would be a good time to consider it.
Wouldn't that fall under the full elected?
Right, so we couldn't do it. We could consider it, but we can't do it because we'd have to eliminate it for all elected officials. You can't just do it for one. It has to be for all. That's shown bias against a job class.
Really,
According-
because in the city of Kingston, they don't offer it for council members in the city of Kingston, but the mayor of the city of Kingston has it.
That's because the city of Kingston has different laws than the towns have in New York State. So I can address that and get you more detail on it. If you go to,
I think that would be helpful.
we can go to the AOT website and we'll get you all that information. Any other questions on page 1 for clarification? All right, let's go to page 2. General fund. Tasha, do we have any major points here we want to bring up?
I think the major point that we want to make sure that everybody is aware of, the general fund houses the police department. So what board member, councilwoman Van Bro, yeah.
It's a group.
Van Bro.
Maybe a new name.
Van Bro had mentioned that the health insurance is going back into that line. So that will be a change.
And there was also, it's addressed in there. Since this preliminary budget was made,
Health
it
insurance.
was health insurance had to be changed on the entire police academy. It was
Not the entire police, there was a couple individuals that had family plans that are now individual plans, and also the tier for the retirement pension was incorrect, so that has been changed. That will need to be changed as well.
in that the expenses, as we did, Mike and Mariana, I confirm, the expenses that we will incur were also offset by fund balance,
Okay,
correct? And when you did
if
that,
that's what you're telling me.
yeah, as I saw it, that's what it looked like to me.
Okay,
And we'll confirm that. So that will be a change from this, because there was an error made, well, it wasn't an error, it was a miscalculation because of different information, and we are correcting that.
one other major point that I want to bring up, and the supervisor and I had mentioned this before. When you look at the general fund, it looks like there's a change overall, that it has been decreased. Last year, we had the ambulance inside the house, inside the general fund. This year, the ambulance has its own district and its own fund. So that major decrease, it's really not a major decrease because we're still having an ambulance fund that we have to compensate for.
Yeah, and New York State does not allow us to separate out the ambulance fund out of the tax cap. It's part of the calculation of the tax cap. Correct.
Hopefully going forward, that will change. as I had mentioned last time, at the board meeting, that there is I don't know, a law or
Pending law.
pending law, that has already passed the assembly. It's in the Senate. It's holding there, waiting for the governor to sign it. If that does go through, then that we will be able to take that portion out of the tax cap. For this budget, unfortunately, it's a little too late for that.
So is it included in here, that schematic that you use with the comptroller? Maybe that's just for the board.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
it is.
the tax cap, I actually have it here, but I don't believe
No, it's not.
it's not in that.
There's a schematic that she has to go on to the comptroller's
It's actually
website.
this one.
We can get this put on the web page, on the town's website for you.
Where we show, yeah.
We go on, she goes on to the comptroller's website, enters all the numbers of our, in our budget, and then it tells us where we are as far as below or above the tax cap.
Yeah, every little change they can make when it comes to the expenses. As soon as you move anything around and the tax levy change, that bottom line number changes. And it gives us a little bit more information of where we stand overall.
Any questions on this page? Go ahead and turn. Thank you. The next page is just a review of the organizational structure of the town. Nothing's changed here over the years. See who reports to who. You notice we have all the water districts. That's something that over the decades or so has grown. We did add the comptroller several years ago. How many years has it been now? Two. 2 years. All right.
That would be only a couple.
Any questions on the structure? If not, where do the town's general fund expenditures go? It's color coded, but you can see that I can't match these codes up.
The major one is the employee benefits and compensation.
Yeah. And as we've mentioned years going, we see things like police cars and trucks, but the vast amount of our money goes to people. It's a contractual situation. We just town employs people. That's what town is. So it's a major part of our expenses. Hopefully that's clear looking at the pie chart there. I've always found these colored things sometimes interesting to figure out what color is which one, but I think I do. Where do the town's general fund expenditures go? This is the next page. So it shows total employee expenses 79.3%. Not to blame, it's just what it is. That's what we do here. Where do the town's general fund revenues come from? We all know that. They mostly come from real estate and property taxes. What are some of the other ones though that are of interest?
The 13.7 is fund balance.
Yep.
We have our sales tax, adult use cannabis tax now we've been seeing coming in at a larger quantity, but mostly property tax.
Yeah. And then the sale of property sometimes affects the budget a little.
A little bit.
But please do notice that in this budget as was presented, 13.7% was coming from the reserves.
The fund balance.
Fund balances, that number will be higher. That number will be higher. But what we have noticed as the town council people is that as the years have gone by, every year we've allocated money from the, almost every year we've allocated money from fund balances. But you'll notice that the town, by the time we get to the end of the year, has been able to maintain a very healthy cash balance, and it continues to maintain fund balances to try to make sure that our future liabilities we're prepared for. Again, like we said, we don't want to be financing this through the next generation. We try to pay for it now. We can, in all cases. So. Next page. Unless you have questions about that, where do the town's general fund revenues come from? Where do the town's general fund revenues come from is a more detailed page of it. Where do the town's highway fund expenditures go? Frank, are you here?
Yeah.
Frank? Nothing much has changed in the last few years on this, correct? Percentages stay about the same. There's been little things like, there was times when fuel went up in price, there were times when that resulted in an increase in blacktop. There were times when vehicles have continued to go up in price, so has anything gone down? No.
Never does.
Nope, this continues to go on. Any questions or any need for clarification on that? Capital items makes up about 15% of that. That's when we have the acquisition of equipment and trucks. And we have the next page, which is a historical view of it on a spreadsheet of the town's fund expenses. Where do the town's highway fund revenues come from? Very clearly, once again, it's the real estate taxes. When you get your property tax bill, you can see, we see that on our property tax bills. But again, we are bringing some in from the fund balances. Town's done a great job over the years.
But that's fund balance or reserves.
Or reserves.
Right.
The town continues and has done over the past many years, over a decade, continually been building up that reserves and the fund balances. But there is a time, they're there for a reason. The time is that when we have expenses, we would not want to generally operate the town out of fund balances, because then we deplete it and we'd have nothing. We want to balance, a balance of, as expenses go up, we want to balance the tax increase with also, we have some benefits in our fund balances. We've had interest. As you've seen in some of the supervisors' reports, the interest income has been able to be utilized. How much would you, I know I'm putting you on the spot. It's been, can we say a lot of money?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can
it's
say
a
a
lot.
lot of money.
It's
We
been a
can
lot.
also say that the interest that we made last year compared to what the interest is looking to be this coming year for 26 is going to be a lot less.
As you know, the interest rates, it's good when they drop it for all of us, but it's also bad for an organization like a town who's got money in CDs. If the interest rate goes down, then it goes down. And what's also important to know is if we have money in a fund for a department, if it's the sewer department, the water department, the police department, the highway department, the interest earned goes to those accounts. It doesn't go to just one account. It gets allocated to the funds specifically, right down to pennies.
Yes.
Any questions on that? The next page gives you a little bit more of documentation of that. The fund balances. What is it? I can read what it says. Unappropriated fund balance is increased by an excess of revenue less expenses, decreased by an excess of expenses less revenues. We've had the very good fortune in the past few years where the expenses come in under budget. We then, as you may recall, and every year, we have,
Or revenues come in over budget.
yes, that's true, yes, because sometimes that's not because of interest.
More grants, more, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. What we do, as you notice at the end of the year or the beginning of the next year, is you'll hear us refer back to a policy that is the amount of money that is the maximum amount that we would have in the funds that we want to carry. And then we allocate funds. We commit them to certain things. We can't just have a very large slush fund. So we go ahead and put them in committed funds or dedicated funds. The town has adopted a fund balance policy establishing a minimum level of unappropriated fund balance rainy day fund by fund. Unappropriated fund balance over the minimum levels are appropriated for special reserves, capital reserves, pension reserves, and compensated absences. You'll notice in some areas where the budget actually projects out what will the expense be for anticipated vacations and absences. Fund balance review took place in June, and the town board approved applying unappropriated fund balance to the 2026 budget. So we are continuing and would anticipate hopefully doing the same this year.
Mhm.
The next page shows some specifics about the general fund balance. As of December 31st, 2024, the unassigned fund balance per the report is $4,187,000 and change. proposed appropriated fund balance was $1,400,000, leaves a net of $2,787,000 and change. The maximum fund balance per fund balance policy adopted by the town is $1,195,284. What we want to bring to your attention is that using fund balances does diminish the fund balance. So our hope is that we will then be able to replenish that as time goes by. Any questions on that for clarification?
And that was just the general fund.
Just the general. And the last page is,
Just going
Yeah.
through the fund balance.
yes, okay, the last page just shows the fund balance, yeah. So what I'd like to do at this point is open the floor to general questions about the preliminary budget and keeping in mind the adjustments that we're gonna make as to what Councilman DeGruy mentioned. Any questions for clarification, or we can help you understand it better? Where we will go from here with this is the town board, on November 20th. Will wait to get back the answers from the company. I'll work with the comptroller. We'll wait to come back with the answers on that. We will present to the board a revised preliminary budget. That budget will then be, if we're okay with it, that will then be voted on. It has to be voted on the 20th. It has to be to the county on the 21st.
Correct.
So then we will then approve that budget, and that will become the budget for the town of Ulster. If you don't have a question now, but you come up with a question as you're looking at this, please send them in, contact us any way you'd like to let us know what you recommend or would like to be considered. We have right up till we vote on the 20th to make changes, make amendments, make adjustments if necessary. Please always remember, budgets are the best guess. We're looking at historical documents, trying to do best guess scenarios. Yes, the town has, in some ways guessed well, but as we have ended up, we have an under guessed. We're not coming back mid-year and having to do a major budget adjustment to try to recover what's going on. We've been doing well.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I personally seeing, working with the supervisor for the last couple of years, doing the budget, and I would take the word guess away, because the analysis and the schedules that we do on a monthly basis for the major revenues, major expenses, and so on and so forth are precise. You know, we're not just guessing on those numbers, we're reporting the numbers that go out and reporting the numbers that come in. So over the period of a month, and then, every 6 months, and then, of course, once it's budget season, he had those documents to look at to say, okay, where do we stand historically? Where were we? And how do we feel going forward? And I guess that's where, the estimated guess would come in.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of historical data and a lot of factual data that goes into making the budget. It's not just putting a 3% increase on expenses or, things like that. So there's a lot of time spent on doing those.
And we've had many items in the budget that we did question the supervisor and the comptroller with asking for detail.
Mhm.
And not making any accusation. We just want to know, what is this about? And we get back these nice Excel spreadsheets that give us the detail. If anything that Jim is super at is doing spreadsheets.
No.
If you want a spreadsheet on anything, get together.
Yeah.
Have a make spreadsheet. So we can get more analysis if need be. But once again, this is what we're presenting. We also have done this will not end it. As we progress in through next year, we will continue working with the comptroller to be reviewing and watching and working on continued better models. As time goes by, it used to just be a yellow piece of paper and a pencil. Now it's computers and Excel spreadsheets, but now there's even better things than that. There's analytical data that we can use. There's some other stuff that we can use to project out and better manage some of our expenses. Some things that have been done about fuel management Energy management, we had, over the years, we've had the sewer plant has had energy management things that have actually saved money. The water plant put in soft starts on the major pumps, which then saved on the demand energy consumption at the water plant. We have 4 electric vehicles in the fleet now.
What did you do?
They were, no, we now have the water department, no, I mean, the parks, the highway,
4 trucks.
there's 4 electric trucks.
Yes.
Which we got grant money toward, and they're, supposedly green, but they look white to me. So we're doing efforts like that, but, just understand that we are continually looking at this, the board is continuing to look at this budget and trying to get our hands around it. Ever going on and on and on about this. So this is my 6th go at this. Mike, this is your first. Mary Ann, this is your
This is
Third?
my second.
second?
This is my
Second?
second.
Tosh, you've had a lot of experience from your prior employment and here with it. So I would like to close this portion of the meeting then with my 6th grade teacher had this sign hanging over the wall. That was Mr. Cardani at the Crosby Elementary School. Many of you might have had him. And it said, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. Unless you ask it 6 times. So as far as we're concerned, if you have a question about this, we would ask you to please get to us. Yes, clarification question.
Well, I just want to, see if I understand,
And why don't you up to the mic?
My question is, what do you see as your major expenses going forward? So there's always expenses on employee salaries, right? They're always going to go up.
Mhm.
Am I correct?
Yes.
And there's always going to be an expense for health insurance. That's always going to be going up. What other things do you, and also the retirement fund,
Mhm.
right? That's all going to be going up. That always goes up every single year, right? And then what else do you see going up? Was it the fuel costs?
I think in general, most things have gone up. I don't think
Okay.
that we've seen a decrease in
Anything?
expenses that has really gone down.
So your
And
historical
even-
data,
And even if they have gone down, the revenue associated with it, because there are expenses that we balance out from a revenue that we receive, that revenue is also going down. So.
right,
it's-
well, so
it's a
what
slippery-
I'm trying to ascertain is you have expenses that are always going up.
Mhm.
Okay, and that 2% cap,
Mhm,
you're supposed to try and balance your budget within that 2%.
mhm.
Okay,
You mentioned like insurance, but it's even multiple parts of insurance. It's even the vehicles now are becoming much more expensive to insure, our liability insurance. What was that?
Both employees, you say employees expenses, but we have to add employees as the town grows. There's additional employees that we have to hire. The vehicles that people crash into on ours and they cause damage to it, we have to replace those vehicles. And these things are not thought about in the budget. We don't get the money free from anybody to replace those vehicles. We have to replace them.
There are instances where the town is very careful with insurance coverage and we have things that go wrong. And we do have we feel a very good insurance policy and it's done well for the town. We had that incident with the sewer plant and they were right there to work with us on it to come to a good agreement for them and for the town. We've had incidents that, that's why you have insurance, because accidents happen. But that does go up. You had mentioned, the fuel fluctuates, but you'd wish that because when fuel went down, how come blacktop didn't go down? Well, there's other additives in blacktop that make it cost more. But I think, did it go down at all, Frank? The cost per ton? Yeah, and then salt, what was the history on salt? When you had to make a buy early on salt, right? Because of
Well, we're trying to fill the shed now.
because now is the time to get it at the right price, right? Okay, there's things like that we try to do, so. Any other questions or things we should have for clarification? Because now I want to be clear, when we do move on now to the next section of the meeting, when we go to the comment, this is not over. This is the budget's on the agenda, so you're more than welcome to make comments about that. Just want to make sure we're good with that. If we are, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the preliminary budget.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
roll call, or not roll call, I mean, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, we have an option here. Our agenda says that the regular business wouldn't start until 7 o'clock. The meeting started at 5, I mean, at 6 o'clock. It is my understanding that we can continue on now with the meeting. Does anyone have any information that would be different about that? We'll just continue on with the meeting? We've had the safety announcements. Okay, is there any additions or changes to the agenda? And I think we have one.
I need to make a motion that the town board enter into negotiations
For executive session.
for an executive session.
Okay,
You want me to tell you what it is?
it's, what do we have to give me what the reason is?
Okay. That it is negotiations with our bargaining. Okay, let me start this again. To discuss collective bargaining negotiations with our labor unions pursuant to the open meetings law.
Is that okay, Jason? We're on thumbs up.
Is that
with
okay? Did I do that right?
It must be,
Okay.
okay, all right, good. So we'll have that at the end of the meeting, the executive session.
Yeah,
Also, we're gonna amend the agenda to move the discussion of modifications of the 2026 preliminary budget. We agreed to move that up to new first act item under new business. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, we come to that point in the meeting where it's public discussion on agenda items. Want to read, excuse me? Yes? Public, well, you want to make public discuss, oh, okay, oh, I thought you were telling me I'm doing something wrong. Public discussion on agenda items, I asked, the town board has a policy that it's 3 minutes, that when you come to the podium, you please state your name and your address for the record. And we will be turning the camera to the person talking. So the time, you're first.
Good evening, town board. I'm here tonight to address the article in the Daily Freeman on October 27th relating to the 2026 Town of Ulster budget and the possibility of cutting positions of the police department. That article has drawn out a large amount of emotion amongst my members, and rightfully so. The men and women of the Ulster Police Department are some of the hardest working law enforcement professionals in Ulster County. To ask of them to continuously provide the highest level of service to the town of Ulster community and do that with an already small amount of manpower is unfeasible. As a society has continuously asked more from us over the last 5 years, we have done so without ever increasing our workforce. Compared to last year, this time, we were already up 730 calls for service and 43 arrests, and we still have 2 months to go. As the police chief for the last 8 years, I have watched this town provide support for the growth of business and development. All I ask from you today is to provide that same support for the growth of this police department. Thank you.
You have a copy of that? Or can you get that to the? Yeah.
Thank you. Got the motion that Mike's making. Is Mike making a motion later?
Yes, oh, yes. We'll do that after public,
Okay.
yes.
Good evening, board. Would just like to address some of the topics that the chief just spoke about. We understand and appreciate that you have a hard job balancing the budget and keeping many tasks in order. But one of the things that we feel is imperative is a continued investment in the people and employees of the town, including the police department. You heard the chief speak before. Since I started in 2001, the police department has basically maintained the same staffing level as we have today. And we know that the town has greatly expanded since 2001 when I started. I would encourage the town as you move forward to take that into consideration, and I would encourage you to invest in your people and especially the police department. Thank you.
Good evening, Town Board. Before I begin, I would like you all, board members, attendees in the meeting here today, and those watching from home to take a moment to look at those in uniform. The men and women behind me are sergeants, detectives, officers, recruit officers, dispatchers, and administrative staff. Among those same people, there's a school resource officer, a forensic interviewer, an accident reconstructionist, a narcotics investigator, a sex offender management specialist, crisis and hostage negotiators, tactical operators, snipers, canine handlers, interpreters, and crime scene technicians, to name a few. Outside of those positions, this badge forces us to take on roles undefined, such as mentors, educators, marriage counselors, mediators, friends, the good and the bad guys, and many more. But when we take these badges off, as heavy as they are, we are mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, sisters, and brothers who took an oath to ensure that each and every one of you and your families are safe, not only from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, but every minute of every day. One of us, despite what we have going on in our personal lives, will always answer the call. At the meeting on October 28, 2025, Councilwoman DeGroot, you made a statement that the public does not know what we do. And I could not agree more, except I feel that it's intentionally designed that way. While you may want to know what we do, we prevent you from seeing and knowing the nightmares that exist while you feel safe in your homes at night, while your children safely attend their third period classes, while babies play in parks free of drug paraphernalia, and while your elderly parents can feel comfortable going to banks and grocery stores without being held up or scammed. The truth is, we don't want any of you to know or experience what it feels like to pull a lifeless 7-year-old out of the Hudson River. We don't want any of you to know or experience what it feels like to perform CPR on urine-stained floors, praying to save the life of a 14-year-old child who had overdosed on drugs provided to her by the ones responsible caring for her. We don't want you to know or experience the feeling you get when you hear the curdling screams of a mother that you have just notified that her child was killed in a motor vehicle accident by a drunk driver. We don't want you to know or experience what it feels like to interview a child who provides you with gruesome details of what someone she calls daddy did to her. I personally don't want you to experience the metallic taste you get in your mouth after your adrenaline dumps from grabbing the arms of someone after you just spoke to them off of the Kingston-Rhinecliff Bridge for 6 hours on the hottest day of the year. Lastly, what I truly don't want you to experience is the frustration of giving your all and dedicating countless hours into a case just for policies that originated from an incident that happened across the nation, to tie your hands so tightly that the violent offenders and predators that you arrest are released before you can even finish your report. Councilwoman DeGroot, these are some of the things that I have experienced, not over the course of my years, in my 12-year career, but I experienced in just 1 year. Why? Because that is what we do. You see, this job does not give us the time to sit in our feelings. Instead, we put our best foot forward and work on these cases day in, day out. Each one of these situations, we went to work and brought successful conclusions to each one of those incidents, because that is what we do, Councilwoman. We show up. And while the common sentiment is that police officers are loved, here's the truth. Over the last several years, while we have been chastised for incidents that we had no control over, we still felt the effects of them. The number of people interested in becoming police officers has significantly decreased. As an instructor in the police academy and the person in charge of our background applications, we have observed record low numbers of prospective officers, as well as record low numbers of academy recruits. The truth is that before we, the Ulster Police Department, can reach some of these recruits, they have been picked up by other agencies in this county that offer a significantly higher pay rate for a substantially lower call volume. Coupled with a welcoming and above ground police headquarters that is free of sewage backup and developing mold. But we still answer the call. Why? Because that is what we do. While we appreciate your consideration in maintaining our department and its current staffing levels and exploring opportunities for expansion in the years to come, I hope you will take a moment to see that we have a long way to go. I ask that you just keep one thing in mind. We are more than just line items in a preliminary budget. We are the people, and if we had a choice, we will still lay our lives down for anyone in this room when the bell rings. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Over the past 10 days, officers have handled 442 calls for service, including 49 car accidents, 32 welfare checks, 35 medicals, 27 disputes, 27 disputes, and 5 domestic disputes. During that short time, our department has also handled 2 rape investigations, a child abuse case, an arson, a missing child, and a fatal overdose. We even handled a person on the bridge who was safely brought back. Each one of those calls requires time, training, teamwork, and often multiple officers from patrol to ensure everybody's safety. From January through September, the Town of Ulster Police Department has made 338 arrests with only 24 full-time officers. For comparison, Kingston made 403 arrests with 70 officers. New Paltz has made 81 arrests with 21 officers. We have made 338 with 24 full-time officers. Only numbers, our numbers show that Ulster's officers are doing far more with way less. The call volume, complexity, seriousness of our calls and cases are increasing, but our staffing has not kept pace. Every time an officer responds to a call, a medical emergency, or any investigation, it leaves fewer officers to handle the existing ones. And that impacts response times, officer safety, and ultimately the community safety. To continue providing this level of service to our residents, our expectations have increased. We cannot maintain the staffing and we need to add more officers. The investment is not just about numbers, it's about protecting lives, supporting mental health crises, preventing crimes to ensure that everybody is safe. Thank you.
Good evening, Town Board. I want to speak on the dedication that the Ulster Police Department has to our community. Every single member of this agency comes to work day in and day out.
Speak into the microphone, please. Thank you.
Every single member of this agency comes to work day in and day out to provide the best possible service they can with limited resources. This department is running on minimum manpower almost daily, whether it be 2 officers and a supervisor or 3 officers to cover an area of approximately 24 square miles. This agency has one of the largest areas to cover within the county, and we completely surround the city of Kingston. With that said, when we are running minimum manpower on a shift, most, if not all, of our manpower is dedicated to the business district and immediate surrounding residential area as calls for service have skyrocketed. These calls for service are, but not limited to, grand and pettit larcenies, property damage accidents, personal injury accidents, disputes, medical emergencies, burglaries, robberies, rape, arson, fraud, unattended deaths, and other serious crimes. As you've already heard, since last meeting 9 days ago, our agency has responded to approximately 430 calls for service, or 48 calls per day. With these numbers and the past proposed cuts, how can all Town of Ulster residents expect to be safe or know that the crime committed against them can be thoroughly investigated? We are an extremely proud police department. We take great pride in the service that is provided to our community. There is no better feeling in this world when there is a positive resolve to any case and victims can return to feeling safe and know that they are in good hands with our members. When it comes down to it, the community knows we have their back, but who has ours? As police officers, we have a couple set of hands around our necks strangling us from effectively performing our duties. The set of hands that wrap around our necks is New York State. They are constantly introducing and passing new laws and bills which deter us from effectively doing our job. But what they do give us is little wiggle room where we can still perform our duties, kind of like oxygen flow to our brain just to keep us alive. The other set of hands, which originally disappointed me to my core, was the out of the blue proposition to cut a detective and sergeant's position, which could have been the last little bit of pressure needed to fully strangulate this police department, causing it to slowly die. If this department dies, we'll protect our community. At the end of the day, our department needs expansion, not reduction. Our community deserves safety and to see the faces of the police department that their hard-earned tax dollars paid for. Thank you.
Good evening, town board members. Thank you for your time in allowing us to speak tonight. It has come to our attention that there has been prior discussions in regard to the possibility of eliminating positions from the detective division, sergeants, and patrolmen. While this may have been a what-if scenario discussed behind closed doors, we as members of the police department are concerned as it feels rather than us growing as a department, this proposal takes us several steps back. Every single officer, sergeant, detective, and dispatcher behind me show up every day to ensure that the town of Ulster remains a safe place for children to go to school, adults to go to work, citizens to enjoy their everyday activities, and for those to simply travel to and from their homes every day. We work countless hours, which involve dealing with and seeing things the average person couldn't or wouldn't even think of. We miss holidays, birthdays, celebratory occasions, and much more. Many of our members are parents who miss the opportunity to put their kids on the bus, go to sports games, recitals, parent-teacher conferences, and miss even milestones in their child's first life. We sacrifice our lives and time with our families just to go to work to keep town members and town bypassers safe. While we did all take an oath to the badge and the requirements of this badge, we did it in hopes of wanting to make a difference and to have opportunistic and rewarding careers along the way. There are many officers behind me who want and deserve more due to their time and effort put into their line of work. There are officers behind me who want to be negotiators, narco, ESU, crime scene technicians, and educators to those currently in academy. Our officers want more technological advances, opportunity, and growth for the department, not for it to be taken away. I myself have spent 8 years in college specializing in death and crime scene investigations and would obviously like to see myself advance in my career just like others behind me. It becomes discouraging to us to hear about positions or monetary cuts, especially when we all work ourselves to exhaustion, both mentally and physically, as we don't have enough officers and we don't get paid enough for what we do. We find ourselves working overtime every week just to make it by, which is exactly why many previous officers went to other departments of surrounding agencies. Those departments pay way more and have more opportunity to offer. However, myself and those behind me are loyal to this department despite this. We would love to see our department continue to grow as we answer high call volume, similar to these other agencies, if not more. We need more positions to help keep the town safe. Taking away our positions or cutting our parts of our budget would be devastating to our department physically and mentally, which we can't endure when trying to keep the town safe. Thank you for your time. Good evening, board members and everyone here today. My name is Madison Van Kuren, and I have served as a dispatcher for the Town of Ulster Police Department for the past 4 years. I'm standing here tonight not just as an employee, but as someone who deeply cares about this community, the department, and the people who put on a uniform every day to protect us. When my colleagues and I learned that positions in our department may be cut or eliminated, it hit us hard. It wasn't just surprising, it was heartbreaking, because we know what that will mean. We feel the strain every single day, and I need you to understand what it looks like from where I sit as a dispatcher. Every day, our dispatchers and officers walk into work exhausted, not because we don't love what we do, but because we are stretched to our absolute limits. We work long hours, nights, holidays, and we miss family events because this community always comes first. We answer every call, no matter how tired we are, because someone on the other end is counting on us. We have no other choice. From the dispatch center, I see the unfiltered truth of what our officers go through. I hear the shakiness in their voices after a dangerous call. I hear the deep breath they take before responding to the next one. And I see how they push forward even when they haven't had a moment to emotionally catch up. They don't complain, they just keep going because it's who they are. There are days when we have no supervisor on duty. There are nights when a single officer is running from call to call alone, not because it's safe, but because it's our only option. And there are moments I will never forget, moments when an officer calls for backup and the only available officer I have is the detective division. I cannot put into words the fear in their voice or the helplessness I feel sitting in that chair knowing that the officer is out there alone. It's not only safe, it's not dangerous. It is dangerous, I'm sorry. Those moments stay with you, they don't go away when you clock out. The guilt I feel when every officer but one is tied up on serious calls and that one officer is out there exhausted, still pushing themselves for this community. It weighs heavily on all of us. We carry that weight because we care, but caring doesn't make us invincible. It doesn't erase exhaustion. It doesn't replace manpower. Since I started 4 years ago, call volume has skyrocketed. Overtime has become a constant. Mandates are the norm, and sick calls reflect a workforce pushed beyond its limits. And yet, in the midst of all this, there have been discussions to cut our staffing. I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart to really think about what that means. For the officers who risk their lives, for the dispatchers who are their lifeline, and for the residents who trust that someone will always be there when they call us or 911. We are proud to serve this community. We are dedicated. We show up every day, no matter how hard it gets. All we are asking is that our safety and the safety of the people we protect remain a priority. Cutting positions won't make us stronger. It won't save this town money in the long run, but it will absolutely put everyone at risk. Thank you for listening, and thank you for considering the very real impact your decision will have on the people who devote their lives to keeping this town safe and our town of Ulster community.
Good evening, Town Board. My name is Sean Bailey. I'm currently a patrol sergeant with the Ulster Police Department, as well as a town resident and taxpayer. I've been a proud member of the Ulster Police Department for nearly 10 years now. My current role as a sergeant includes supervising patrol officers on both day shift as well as evening shift. This involves reviewing incident reports, case reports, accident reports, domestic incident reports, as well as various other paperwork. These duties all must be completed in a timely manner, while also responding to assist officers on calls for service, and at times even handling calls for service if no other officers are available. In addition to these daily tasks, I also oversee the Honor Guard Unit, Operation Safe Child ID program, as well as the Child Passenger Safety Technicians, which is our car seat program. Year after year, I observe firsthand the overall increase in call volume and subsequent paperwork handled by all of our officers. I have also observed the complexity of calls for service and criminal investigations severely increase, resulting in the utilization of more manpower from both the patrol as well as the detective division. Most daily patrol shifts include just 2 officers and a supervisor to cover the entire town of Ulster jurisdiction, which is approximately 28 square miles with over 12,000 permanent residents. As most of you and all of us know, that population soars during the daytime and evening hours due to traffic volume, workplaces, schools, and shoppers. Just last night alone, in less than a 1-hour period, our C-Line patrol shift handled 6 motor vehicle accidents in the town, as well as a welfare check and psychiatric emergency. That's 8 calls for service in 1 hour with 3 officers. On average, an accident investigation and report could take an officer anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half to complete. As you can tell, that math just does not add up, and this is not an unusual occurrence. For what now seems like a daily occurrence, the detective division puts their list of important responsibilities aside and runs out of the station to assist patrol officers on calls for service. In many incidents, detectives are backing officers up on high priority calls due to no other officers available. I've also seen detectives forced to handle calls for service themselves because there's no one else. I know of no other police agency in Ulster County where their detectives leave the station to respond to patrol level calls to ensure the public's requests are answered in a timely manner and make sure the public is safe, which is our utmost responsibility. When I started with this agency in 2016, our detective division consisted of a detective sergeant and 5 detectives. Our current detective division currently consists of a detective sergeant and only 3 detectives. What does this mean? Higher caseload for the detectives while also juggling assistant patrol officers on calls for service. While I'm grateful our detective division is no longer working at desks in construction style trailers in the parking lot as they did for several years, the number of occupied detective desks have dwindled. To be straightforward, the Ulster Police Department is severely understaffed for our current call volume, and our members still show up day in and day out to serve the public and keep the community safe with their 100% effort. As the community continues to grow, the police department needs to grow as well to meet the growing needs of the people we are sworn to protect. I encourage the town board and members of the community to look at other police agencies and compare their crime statistics to ours. It will really open your eyes. I also encourage any member of the town board or the public, if they ever want to see firsthand the hard work the members of this agency do daily, our agency does offer a ride-along program, and I'll be happy to take you along. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the hardworking members of the Ulster Police Department.
I've heard enough of that, but let me tell you that my name is Vicky Lucarini and I live at 170 Ledge Road. I have some friends that are police officers, but not in this town. And I understand that police officers, and maybe, Chief Berardi can, tell you some statistics of what police officers go through. They are at a higher risk for divorce. They are at a higher risk for depression. They are at a higher risk of becoming alcoholics and also very high risk in depression. And what I've heard tonight is you putting these officers at risk, higher risk for all of those things that I've mentioned. And I think that this town board really needs to do this service for this police department. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any? Does anyone else have, please?
Good evening. My name is Eileen Murphy. I just want to say that I live at 114 Quail Drive, town of Ulster. And a couple of years ago, I did serve on the Police Reform Committee, which was headed by Clayton, as a matter of Clayton Van Cleek, Supervisor Clayton Van Cleek, and in cooperation with Chief Berardi and his staff and members of the community, spent a good part of a year or two reviewing the work that was done by the Town of Ulster Police Department. My particular committee was the care and mental health, being a licensed social worker myself, of the staff. And what I found was that the Town of Ulster Police Department took excellent care of their staff, but the fact that there were not enough police at the time, I believe now 24 is the maximum, but at the time they had not reached the maximum. And what was happening is that police officers were taking shifts in other towns. So they were working like a full shift here in the town of Ulster. And then also, in order to make up the money, because they were only not fully hired here, they would take shifts in another department. This leaves a person who is continuously traumatized by those in our community who are engaged in crime, most often due to alcohol issues or mental health problems and severe psychiatric impairment, which places a police officer in the same position as someone who might be a psychiatrist, a nurse, or a counselor. So would we actually say that in our community that we would not want to hire more nurses? No. Would we say that we would not want to hire more staff to take care of mental health issues? No. But the police department somehow is on the rack to be lessened. They've already had to reduce the educational standards. They used to have an associate's degree in order to become a police officer. Now it's down to a high school diploma. Luckily, there is an academy. So what I want to say is that it was an education for me, and that the police department was extremely transparent. We made recommendations, including civil service laws and more diversity on the police department, which I know has occurred already. And two opportunities that I had, which was I did take a ride with Detective Benjamin, and that was an education, even though I had a great deal of experience working with mandated clients, let me say, but never in a police car. And I also did a full 8-hour shift in the dispatcher's office. And I watched the person who was doing that juggle calls from all different towns at different times and dispatching the emergencies where they would go with the most aplomb I've ever seen. So I would like to support any additional funds from this great general fund that we have to support the police department and add to the current staff that they have. Thank you.
Any other comments on any topic at all for the board? Regis?
Are we on agenda items?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good evening, town board. My name is Regis Sobojeski, 170 Ledge Road. And I just want to say I was also thankful for the remarks that were made at the end of the last board meeting about our police department, which was extremely supportive and saying of every aspect of the police. And so I know that people are sitting on this dais support what you have so eloquently spoken of in your comments tonight. We all respect you. My comments are about the budget, about the 2026 budget. I have prepared remarks that I'll pass on to you, but I'm gonna have to cut it a little bit shorter. Better that way. First couple paragraphs, we're just going to eliminate because, you know, that you've all said that you have a commitment not to pierce the 2% New York State tax cap, and I couldn't agree with you more. I also think that the town supervisor position, as well as the compensation for town board members, is artificially low. And I'd like you to consider more than a 9% for that supervisor position, as well as a bump for the town board members. It's inadequate recompense at this point. The adjustments that we're all talking about here are possible, I think, without raising taxes by a single dime, and without biting a single fingernail over health benefits for members for the town board, or losing a minute's sleep over the need to pierce the 2% tax cap for homeowners. The town budget had often been presented as a zero-based budget, starting from scratch each year, as if nothing happened in the previous year beyond expenses. We have been examining independent audits of our town's finance since 2016, and every year we try to reduce the message of an external independent body's work in auditing taxes to 2 pages. If anybody wants to see that for the 2024 report, and that's an end of the year report, I'd be happy to provide that. We try to make it very simple so everybody understands it. It's very complicated, but not that complicated. Last year's unnecessary tax cap blowout due to a hand-wringing over the so-called uncovered anticipated costs of $1 million plus for ambulance services was unnecessary. And we were confident then that there would be that amount of money and more in excess cash at the end of 2024. As it turned out, the excess money left over at the end of 2024 was $1.4 million. That $1.4 million was then added to an accumulated fund balance of almost 20.6 million, generating a growing and unspent cash volume of nearly $22 million. Why does $22 million ring a familiar bell? It's because our total book of business expenses for 2024 was also $22 million. Please take a couple of seconds to think about that. In 2024, our town spent $22 million on total town business, and we also showed an accumulation of $22 million in unspent cash. What this story is about is about when is enough enough. I've looked at the audits pretty closely from 2016 to 2024, and they have a similar picture. And the similar picture is a growing cushion. Nothing wrong with that. We all like more money than less money. But it grows considerably, and it has grown to a point that I think you recognize is quite enough. I looked at the 2009, this before Mr. Quigley came here and worked his finance magic. And 2009 was pathetic. I mean, it was just awful. We were really out of money. We were in debt. It was pretty serious debt. town board back in 2009 didn't know what they were doing, in my estimation. Anyway, another rule of thumb commonly used to determine a town's financial health is to determine its ratio of current assets to current liabilities. In other words, can a town afford to pay its bills, its regular bills? The current assets include all cash and all cash equivalents. So money that's invested that can be turned into cash. So all cash and all cash equivalents and all current liabilities referred to as current bills. So if you have the same amount of cash as the amount of bills at the end of the year, how did you do? You broke even. If you have twice the amount of cash as you have bills, you did very well. If you had 3 times, you were in a very enviable position. At the end of 2024, and this is a pattern, and you could say, well, it's a good pattern because it's nice to have the cash. At the end of 2024, the ratio of cash to bills was 10 to 1. 10 to 1. Not 1 to 1, not 2 to 1, not 3 to 1, 10 to 1. That's a very, very enviable position. And I think we're at the point of enough, and we can really spend some of that money. Besides being flush with cash, excess dollars have grown each year at a steady rate from 2010 to the present, as I had said. And there is good reason why the Security and Exchange Commission has bestowed on our town a rating of AAA minus. AAA minus. A very large, shiny lure to anyone seeking to conduct business here. Not a bad thing from the point of view of an SEC rating. It's really quite good and probably enviable to any municipality. In fact, the tide of people's cash is so high that we do not need to add to it. The tide, raised by our taxes and maintained by strong management, needs to be tamed. We need a levy for our tax levy. We need an LEVEE or our LEVY to hold back the tide. At least since 2010 to the present, independent auditors have in their management letter cautioned the town of Ulster that its board has not adequately stated the town's net worth. We state our net worth, and our net worth right now is 8 million plus. And when you talk about net worth, you're talking about cash and then liabilities all the way out into the future. And anything positive for a municipality, anything in the plus is very good, but you got to be able to prove that. So our auditors say, you can't prove this. We can't verify it. Government Accounting Standards Board, number 34, requires an inventory of all capital assets along with depreciation and amortization schedules. So, a truck bought 3 years ago is not worth the same amount of money as it was when it was purchased. And so there are, hurry up, okay. All righty. Okay. So here's one of the things we're recommending. We recommend using a college or university school of business free assistance on this matter. What we're asking for is for the town to consider a capital development plan with a 10-year movable horizon. So 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. And to change that or to alter that, to improve it, to cut it back every year. And that kind of a capital development plan, it doesn't necessarily render impotent the kind of reserve funds that we have. It just makes it very specific for everybody and every town official that has to be involved in this. So we need to do an inventory. And that inventory does not have to be expensive. Probably would need a consultant or a free university study to school the directors. I know, hurry up. Okay, so we recommend that. So members of the town board, allow us to summarize our 4 major points. 1, since the town's largest assets are capital assets, please consider developing a 10-year movable horizon capital development plan. 2, Please be assured that any increase in taxes to resume health benefits for the town board is within, it's definitely within our means. Piece of cake. 3, there is no justifiable reason to pierce the 2% tax cap on taxes. And 4, please know that if you vote for a property tax increase of any size, you will not be funding a necessity, but rather a big fat cushion of cash. Please ask yourselves, when is enough enough? Thanks very much.
Any other comments, please? Yes? I've got somebody in the back.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Quigley, formerly Lauren Hummel. I live at 1134 Oakwood Drive in the town of Ulster, and I'm here tonight as a taxpayer and a proud member of this community. I worked in this town for 10 years prior to leaving and going to another job, and I worked with these fine men and women for a very long time. They are honestly, truly incredible. I'm asking you, please keep our police department fully staffed and funded at its current level. This isn't about politics, it's about safety. When we call 911, we don't want to wait, and you don't want to wait. We don't want to hear no one's available. We want to know that trained officers are on duty, ready to protect our families and our neighborhoods, and that's exactly what we get with the town of Ulster Police every single time. Every minute counts when something goes wrong, and those minutes can mean the difference between safety and tragedy. Cutting the police budget may look like saving money on paper, but it's a false economy. Vacant positions mean slower responses and burned out officers. It's not saving, it's risking lives, property, and trust. Our officers are out there every day, the ones who run towards the danger when the rest of us are running away. They deserve the tools, training, and backup to do their jobs safely and effectively. And we as residents deserve to know that help will come when we need it. I believe in accountability and smart spending, absolutely. But public safety is not the place to gamble with cuts. Let's invest in what works. Keep the police department fully funded, keep it fully staffed, and keep our town safe. Thank you very much.
Mr. Obujeski, I'd like to just say that,
Your name.
my name is Nick Werner. I'm the former supervisor of the town of Ulster.
And please direct your comments to the board.
I'd just like to say to the board, and back to Mr. Obujeski, I wouldn't place blame on the board in 2009 for any issues with the budget, especially the late Councilman David and Joel Brink, or Councilman Credo, or former Councilman County Legislator Eric Kitchen. Any blame that you have about the 2009 budget, you can rest solely on my shoulder, Mr. Obujeski. Anytime you want to talk about it, you can call me. But I will say that in 2009 and 8 and 6 and 7, we had a fully funded police department. We had a fully funded recreation department. We planned for and built a senior center. We rebuilt a pavilion. And we provided essential services to the residents of this town for 4 years. We did it without public spats and fights and discourse. Did we disagree? Sure. Did we have challenges? Absolutely. Do we have difficult economic times, including the collapse of the real estate market in 2008? Absolutely. But those are the challenges that boards face. We did it by spending the fund balance, but we still had a healthy fund balance when we left office. Probably not healthy enough for my successor, Mr. Quigley, and he and I have debated over that over the years, but I've respected the positions he's taken, and I think the fund balance is a little too healthy right now, and I believe it sounds like this board does too, since the only way you're going to do what you're proposing to do and not raise taxes is to spend the fund balance, like we did for 4 years when we governed, pretty much unanimously. But why we're sitting here tonight and why there's resignations and changes is because of discourse. Discourse that's gone on now for over a year. Discourse that's filled a room full of police officers because there were potential cuts on the table. Discourse that appears is going to set up an election next year for supervisor. When you spend money this year in this budget to keep the positions that you have, find money to put more police officers in the budget. Echo the words of the late Mr. Brooks that used to come to these town board meetings. We need more police. Because when I run for supervisor, I'm going to do that. Because that's what this town needs. It needs more police. It needs more highway employees. It needs more recreation. Because if we're going to grow this town and restore it to what it once was, that's where the investment needs to be. In our employees, in our residents, in our businesses. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Public comment? Yes?
Good evening, town board. I had a privilege of sitting up in where you're sitting now for 16 years. Now a current county legislator, soon will be former. I just want to say back in 2016, 9 years ago, I was having a major heart attack at 11:30 at night. And I said to myself, I got to get somebody here quick, I'm dying. I didn't call 911, I actually called the town of Ulster dispatch. And within less than 2 minutes, there was somebody there to help me save my life. Over the years I spent on this board, 16 years, I got to know each and every one of these people individually, and the ones I don't know, recently hired, or I hired them and haven't had a chance to meet them. In an atmosphere, especially right now with what's going on with the Democratic Socialists of America and the defund the police movement, we need more police officers as we can. If you can't see what bail reform has done to New York State, how it's given more and more criminals a free walk to do whatever they would like to do. I'm sorry?
Keep it to the agenda.
I would like to say, please keep the department funded. Please work with the chief and the lieutenant. We need our officers more than ever. I see these gentlemen out there every day helping people, not hurting people. These are brave men and women. I love them. I respect them. Asking the board, please fund them fully. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the board? Yes, please.
Good evening, Matt Molinaro, town resident, 406 Warren Street. I am also a very proud motor equipment operator for the town's highway department and also the chief shop steward for the local 17 union. I am here tonight to show my appreciation, respect, and admiration for the town of Ulster Police Department. I have many good friends that work for the department, from the ranks of police chief all the way down to the youngest patrolman that they have. And they work side by side with us for the highway, water, and sewer every day, directing traffic, keeping us safe, and also working with them at the fire department as well. But not to forget about our local 17 members. Our town's highway, water, sewer, police department, and administrative departments, including our clerks and staff, are the backbone of our community. These dedicated public servants keep our town safe, functional, and moving forward every single day. The highway department works tirelessly in all weather to repair and maintain our roads so that residents and emergency responders can travel safely. The water department provides clean, reliable drinking water through careful maintenance of complex systems that demand skill and attention. The sewer department protects public health and the environment by safely managing wastewater and preventing pollution. The police department stands on the front lines protecting lives, property, and peace of mind while building trust across the community. And our clerks and office staff are the heart of the town operations, managing records, billing, permits, finances, and communications that keep everything running efficiently. These employees show up every day through storms, emergencies, weekends, and holidays, often putting the needs of the community before their own. Yet despite their dedication, many are forced to work second jobs just to support their families. That reality highlights the urgent need for fair pay, competitive benefits, and respect for the people who make our town function. Proper compensation isn't just about money, it's about stability, pride, and retention. When employees are valued and supported, they stay committed to the community. But when they're overlooked, underpaid, or caught in the middle of bad politics and poor leadership, even the best workers are pushed away. Politics should never outweigh fairness, and leadership should never be about power. It should be about service, vision, and accountability. Strong leaders and smart business practices makes the difference. Good leadership recognizes that investing in employees means investing in the entire town. Smart management, open communication, and fair treatment build trust and ensure taxpayer dollars are widely used. When leadership works with, not against its workforce, morale rises, productivity grows, and residents receive the best morale possible. But when negativity, favoritism, or political games take over, good employees leave departments, they suffer, and the whole community feels the impact. It's time to stand behind the people who stand behind the town, the ones who keep it running, safe, and thriving. Fair pay, strong leadership, and respect for all departments aren't just goals, they are the foundation of a successful and united community. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? We will have a public comment time at the end of the meeting also. That can be addressing any topic that you want. So that's it. We'll move on with the meeting for now. Okay, thank you. In our pre-planning of the meeting, we made a motion to move this discussion of modifications to the 2026 preliminary budget to the first part of new business. Mr. DeGroot, you have that item? Do you have any water to drink or? Oh, I have a lot here, okay. Wait, so make sure the microphone is close.
This was written, and it was written to the board members and the supervisor before this meeting. Today, things have changed just a little, so I've had to change a few of these words that's in here. The town of Ulster is recognized as being in very good financial shape when compared to other towns in the state. The annual audits and the monthly supervisor's report show that the town has substantial, consistently increasing cash on hand in its fund balances. It is essential to recognize that our town has not mortgaged the future of future generations to cover current expenses. Year after year, the town's expenses have come in under budget, allowing the board to reallocate these funds to fund balances. Some are restricted and some are not. However, there is a time and a place to say, let's balance this out and slow down the buildup of cash reserves for the town. We should find ways to minimize the tax increases, leaving money in our taxpayers' pockets and building their fund balances also. After review, consideration, and discussions with my other board members that are all sitting before you and members of our community, it is our desire that the town's budget for 2026, that we maintain the personnel levels as proposed in the preliminary budget, that we include health and care benefits for all town board members, and we have a tax levy that does not exceed the tax cap of 2%. We make the following motion to amend and take action regarding the 2026 preliminary budget as filed with the county. We amend to make the changes recommended by the deputy supervisor for the police department salaries and benefit sections as noted in the October 25th, 2025 email that was adjustments to the 2026 police budget. We amend to include the health and care benefits for all councilmen and councilwomen. We assure that all personnel lines are maintained as initially presented. We amend the tax levy to the maximum amount allowed under the tax cap of 2%. we do not want to exceed the tax cap limit. We direct the deputy supervisor and our comptroller to consider and present on or before November 20th other options to reduce the budgeted expenses without the removal of personnel. And last and final, we direct the deputy supervisor and the comptroller to recommend to the board or on before November 20th what fund balances could and should be utilized and by what amounts to balance the 2026 preliminary budget.
You need a motion. This has several items in it, but we will take that as a group. So I need you to make a motion to that, please.
I make this motion that we do this.
Yes,
I second it.
with a motion and a second, we now can open it to discussion. Is there any further discussion about this?
No.
Mary Ann, do you have any discussion about this?
I have a lot to say, but no.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what we've said here. And that is that the preliminary budget included the department head recommendations for staffing for all departments. What this motion does is says that we want to maintain that staffing. We want it funded, that the budget funds it, and we want it maintained. I am very disturbed that because some paperwork was put out to the newspaper that was incorrect. These three people, myself included, at no time considered reducing the staffing in the town. Documents were given to us that showed us what it cost for positions that were stated as unstaffed or not filled. We just needed to know what the dollar amount was. We wanted to know why they were unstaffed and unfilled. And instead, a document was leaked out that said that we wanted to remove those positions. Whether that's believed or not is irrelevant. What is important for you all to know now is that this resolution that we have just made to amend the preliminary budget protects all of those all of the staffing levels that were proposed in the preliminary budget. It reinstates the health insurance for the board members. As we stated in the review of the budget, we can't remove those health benefits without affecting a lot of other people. So we chose not to do that. There were adjustments that had to be made specifically to police retirement and health based on some changes. Those changes are reflected and will be funded appropriately. This board does not want to exercise the override of the tax cap. We want to bring this budget in. I know some people would like it to be at a zero increase, but we feel at this time, to the best of our understanding, that it would be best to bring this in under the tax cap and then take whatever money is necessary from the fund balances that the town has to offset that. History has shown that just about every year, the town is able to put money into the fund balances. So taking some now is historically prudent. Again, I want to repeat that we are all victims at some degree of misinformation at all different times in our lives. This was an example of that. But I have no criticism of the people that are in this room. We respect everybody here, because what we see is the passion of this community comes out and speaks boldly at this podium with no criticism, no back talk, just welcoming and listening to what you have to say. And I think you will see that this board right now is united in the protection of this town and seeing this town continue to prosper. But this swim is uphill. Well, you don't swim uphill. This swim is against the current. The walk is uphill. The challenges we have before us are going to be difficult. We know this with inflation, we know it with health insurance, we know it with so many things we've talked about. But this town has faced the shutting down of a major facility, which was called IBM many years ago. This town has faced all kinds of weird problems. This is just the next thing we have to deal with. And as you all know, this isn't the only problem we have. We have many other problems to deal with in this town. Residents that have issues with property rights. Concerns about environment. And what kind of development is being shoved down throats in communities. Concerns about our expenses. Concerns about adequately protecting our community. Last year, we were concerned about providing proper ambulance service. And we can report later that the investment was right. So when we came together, the three of us, and talked about this budget, it did cause some consternation. It did cause some conflict. That's what happens when you work hard. If we all agreed there'd be something wrong, we sharpen each other. We come in and ask difficult questions. We don't take offense by anyone asking us a question or even making a statement because you are saying what you believe to be true. Sometimes we know different. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we learn. To be quite honest, tonight we had to sit here and listen to some things that we know we didn't do. But we have to allow you and we want you to express your concerns. So what I'm going to challenge the community to, there's been some dramatic changes that came upon us within the last 24 hours, some things that we never anticipated. I didn't anticipate sitting here in this chair today. But I grew up in this town. I've always wanted to be part of this town. And I am glad to be here right now. I'm thankful that God has granted me the years to do this. I'm thankful that we have these people that we get to work with. And I can tell you that we're happy to work with the staff of the town. I can tell you since 10 o'clock this morning, we've had ongoing meetings, not with everybody yet, but with different people within the town. And there's been a resounding support. We respect the work of the previous administration. There's many, many things we're thankful for, and we wish them well. But we have to move on. Tomorrow is another day. We have to continue. So I know I speak for Marianne and Mike and myself when we say thank you to each of you for just showing up, for coming up to the podium and making your statements, and for constantly being here. We recognize your criticism actually as support because you are trying to help sharpen us so we can do the right thing for the town. So with that, I would call, unless there's any other comments, I'll call for a vote on that resolution. Roll call, please. Starts.
Supervisor Quigley, not present. Councilwoman DeGroot.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayner, not present. Councilman Schatzel.
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek.
Yes. We will continue on with the agenda. Now we've got some things that may appear boring, but they do cost a lot of money and we do have to deal with it. First one is not boring and is then very interesting. It's a motion to authorize the comptroller to attend the AOT 2026 annual meeting and training school in February 15th to 17th in New York City. The details were emailed to us previously. I need a motion to accept that.
I make that motion.
And I'll second that.
We have all had the opportunity to attend these meetings in New York City and strongly encourage Tashka's attendance in those meetings. I know it's been beneficial for everyone who's gone to conferences like that. So we just have all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, no one's opposed?
Nope.
Motion to authorize the renewal of the Guardian Dental and Vision Insurance Program for 2026 for the town employees and retirees. Need a
Make that
motion
motion.
in a second?
I'll second it.
And may I just ask, Marianne, with your experience, you looked this over.
Look through every single page.
Is it okay?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay.
Yes. Has
All-
not changed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion to authorize the renewal of the Lincoln Financial Group Disability Insurance Policy for the 2026 town employees. Motion to accept.
I make that motion.
Second.
I will second that, but we're gonna look further into this one halfway. Maybe you gotta give me about 6 months, because I do want to make changes
So
on
you're,
this. Yeah,
you're seconding it, okay.
I will approve of it, but we need to make some changes, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. You just kind of want, gotcha.
I have a lot of good ideas.
Another neat thing that happens in our town is we have employees that realize they work at the sewer department and would like to work somewhere else, I guess. We have a motion to authorize the transfer of one sewer employee to the highway department as a mechanic. You have that?
The employee's name is Mark Grant. He is applying for the title of mechanic in the highway department, full-time. Union position is yes. Non-competitive civil service. Contract local 17. Health insurance eligible, full-time and covered. And it has part-time not covered on this. Grade 7, step 2. His wage is $23.50 an hour. His start date was October 27th.
Okay.
He'll be transferring from the sewer department to the highway department.
Motion to accept that?
I make that motion.
Second.
Of course, yeah, I read it.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No. There's nobody opposed. Motion to accept the retirement. Oh my goodness, this is important one. Motion to accept the retirement of an account clerk typist in the supervisor's office. I think we have a letter, please.
Back in July 23rd of 2025, dear Supervisor Quigley, after 43 years of service in the town of Ulster, my last day of work will be on December 5th, 2025, and my retirement date will be on December 6th, 2025. Thank you for the support, guidance, and opportunities I have received during my time here. It has been a privilege to serve our community and to work with you and everyone here at the town. Sincerely, Nancy Gallo. We wish her well. It's sad to see her go. And anybody that's worked for this town for 43 years, God bless them.
So you're making a motion?
I'm sorry, yes, I'm
You're
making.
a second?
Yes,
And I'd like to add that she was even here late tonight
she
working.
was.
She's that kind of a dedicated person and she's
Yeah.
been here a long, long time. So all in favor, with regret?
I
Aye. No one's opposed. Next one is motion to hire the part-time police officer.
actually interviewed him. His name is Gianni Callister. Part-time police officer. Part-time civil service, non-competitive, union position, yes. Contract, PBA. Chief Berardi would like to recommend hiring Gianni Callister as a part-time police officer. He's currently attending the Ulster County Law Enforcement Training Group Police Academy and is looking to further his law enforcement career. His wage is $28.25 and his start date is November 7th.
Okay, motion please.
I make that motion.
And I make the second. Congratulations, Gianni.
Is he here?
No, I don't see him. No,
Probably at the academy.
not this late.
All in favor?
Aye.
No one opposed? Passes. Motion to hire a part-time deputy assessor for the assessor's office.
I have that one too. The employee's name is Karen Burney as the deputy assessor. Karen is being hired as a part-time deputy assessor in the assessor's office. She will be paid $35 per hour, $20 a week or less, no benefits.
20 hours a week.
20 hours a week
Yep.
or less,
Okay.
no benefits.
Okay.
Did I say that?
I think so. I just
Her
wanted to-
start date is 10/29.
I make that motion.
And she,
I seconded
and
it.
she was
And I
recommended,
interviewed her as well.
and she was recommended by our tax assessor, Dan.
Yes, Dan Baker referred it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you. Motion to authorize the deputy supervisor to sign the Stop DWI High Visibility Engagement Campaign Agreement for the period of October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026.
I make that motion.
And I second.
Chief Roddy, could you just give us that explanation, please?
Please.
This is this is a standard agreement the board signs every year. It's a grant money funneled through the county from the state. It's for targeted enforcement for the period of October 1st through September 30th. And it specifically targets time periods like holidays and things where statewide and nationally, there's been a higher level of driving while impaired. So this is grant money in order for us to put on extra patrols to support that initiative.
And I think for the public's benefit, I'd like to reiterate, and Toshka, you could help us with this. That grant money comes in as, is shown in the budget as revenue, correct? Right, so it's not shown as a negative expense. So if you're looking at the budget, you would find this in the budget under revenue. The difficult thing for the accounting office is that this is a October through September. So it's, as you explained,
Covers 2 fiscal
the
years.
two of you have to figure this out every year about what money goes to us. Okay, so thank you very much. Any other questions for the chief? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? It passes. Thank you. For presentation only was a sample given to the board of what the resolution for adopting the town budget for 2026 will be. That may have changes in it based on the work we're gonna do with with Toshka, our comptroller, and we will come back to the board together on the 20th. For all of you who want to know what channel to be watching that night, be here, because that's the night we have to pass the budget. It's got to be given to the county. We're not like the state where we can draw this out, or the federal government. We have to pass the budget on the 20th, and we will. And I think we are on a very good path for that. Update on the town of Ulster ambulance for the month ending September of 2025. Mary Ann has talked a lot. Would you like me to pick this up, or are you
Please
ready
do.
to go?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. A year ago, we decided that we were going to support the ambulance service in this town through working with the town of Kingston and for a little over about $1 million. So using our, but that was it. We every month are getting reports from the ambulance company that are being checked against the hospitals, police records, the 911 calls. We're not just taking their word for it. We've seen a significant improvement. I don't have anybody here from.
Yeah, we do. We
Fire
actually,
department?
Sergeant Bailey, though. Can
Does
you
anybody
come up-
know?
he was actually part of the initial, can you please come up? I'm sorry. I had to intervene because you were part of the initial group. Would you please explain how
Has there been an
much?
improvement?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
From the police side, I've seen an improvement, as well as being a member of Ulster Hose, I've seen a large improvement. Matt Molinaro is also here, he's in the EMS system with the fire department, so he may well speak on it as well, but it's been a significant improvement on a daily basis.
It's 180-degree turnaround,
Absolutely.
and you're glad that. we
It's not
did this
perfect,
for-
but it's way
Nothing's
better than
ever
what it
perfect.
was.
Yes.
One of the things we discussed, thank you very much. And Matt, did you want to add anything to that? Okay, one of the things we did discuss then, and we reiterated tonight, was that in all things, when you're trying to get from 90% to 95 to 98, that line doesn't go straight, it starts to curve up in what it costs to do that. The very difficult part of this is the cost is about lives, as was mentioned on different topics and things we've talked. We could all tell a story with our families, how we've been dependent on the police and the ambulance getting there. Thankfully, it has. We live in a town, and that's one of those things, along with law enforcement and roads and sewer and water and nursing vehicles. These are all important aspects of our lives, and we want to make sure that we do protect them. So we have been watching this. We are satisfied that there's been a significant improvement in the ambulance and emergency service, getting these reports. So we are glad that we're continuing on with this, and we will continue to get these reports. And things watched do better, and they know we're watching. And would you agree?
Absolutely. I can tell you at the fall festival, I'm not gonna mention any names, there was a gentleman that got hurt and I timed it. And they were there within 8 minutes, and I was very impressed.
Yeah.
We had, there was people there that were already taking care of them. But they were there between 8 and 9 minutes.
Yep.
So.
All right, great. So we're trying to continue. We're gonna continue that. Good. Okay, there is one more new business. Yes. It's a technical thing you have to handle.
Yes. So this is a motion to name Clayton Van Fleet as the sole account user for the town of Ulster Supervisor's Gmail account and to designate the town clerk to set up the credentials necessary, including changing the password.
Motion,
Yes.
second,
Absolutely.
all in favor?
Aye.
We are following the strictest of security measures nowadays with our email accounts, and we feel confident it's the right way to handle it. Okay, discussion of the proposal of DeBella Associates.
LaBella.
Yeah, if you
It's
read
Italian.
proposal, it's written wrong in my document.
That's okay.
But LaBella and Associates. LaBella and Associates have been recommended to this board to be considered as additional resources when it comes to our considering the BES, the best program in Hurley. Our planner agrees with this and wants to have the additional resources. One of our concerns was their insurance coverage, which they did correct. Is that right, Madam Insurance?
They addressed it and it's
adequate?
adequate. It's
Okay.
adequate,
All right.
yes.
We have also dealt with them on our legal side about their conflict of interest. And there is no conflict of interest, and we appear comfortable with them. This is not, we haven't approved them yet. This was just discussion. We're still in the process of that. There's nothing that we need to do right now, but they did answer the questions they were asked.
They did.
As we did.
Satisfactory. Yes,
Is there any other business that the board members need to bring to the table tonight?
we have executive session.
You will have
that
an
I
executive
requested.
session
Yes,
following.
I did.
You did announce that.
You were not in the room, but I did announce it. Would you like to know why?
I really would.
I knew you would.
Thank you.
So I am all set. I made a motion earlier that the town board enter into executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations with our labor union pursuant to section 105.
Which one?
We can tell it.
I can say it. 17.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And why do you have to ask me that?
You want to know.
I want
Ah.
to be thorough.
It's
Can
not
I bring
legally
up any other
required, you
union
want
while
to
we're
know.
in here?
Call no retentive all the time.
I just want to know. Thank you.
That concludes the topics for our agenda. We now open the floor once again to public comment. At this point, your public comments can be about anything. They don't have to be agenda items. And I wasn't watching the clock that close before because I knew it was important, but really, please, we do have a 3-minute limit that I'm supposed to be enforcing, so please
I'll
Vicky,
take up to
demonstrate.
3 minutes.
demonstrate the 3-minute rule, please.
I will.
Okay, again, my name is Vicky Mucarini and I live at 170 Ledge Road. I have a question about the LaBella Associates for the planning board. Is that this group going to be advising the planning board on the secret process? Is that what this is about?
Yes.
Okay.
That was quick. You stayed within your 3 minutes. Thank
Comments
you.
like that, please. Anyone else?
Anybody else?
We take compliments along with comments.
No, we don't. Not tonight.
All right, I see no. Thank you. Thank you. If seeing no other need for comments, again, I want to remind you that you can write to our website in Town of Ulster, and we receive emails. You can mail to us if you put it in mail. Yep. So I entertain a motion to adjourn.
No,
No, not to adjourn, to go to executive session. Thank you. Entertain a motion to go to executive session.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. We do not anticipate coming out with any actions after this executive session. Thank you all for being.